Picture this. Siena, 1368. A young woman kneels alone in her cell. Suddenly, she feels something slide onto her finger, not gold, not silver, but flesh itself. She claims Christ has just married her with a ring made from his own body. She says she still wears it, though no one else can see it. This is the story of Catherine of Siena, and it changed the course of church history forever. Where history speaks. The 14th century was an age of turmoil. The Black Death had ravaged Europe, wiping out millions and leaving entire communities hollow. The Pope had forsaken Rome for Avignon, fracturing the unity of Christendom. In this climate of fear and uncertainty, ordinary believers yearned for a more immediate link to the divine. New religious movements flourished beyond the reach of traditional church structures. Lay people, and women in particular, began to claim visions and mystical encounters that unsettled and defied established authority. In the Italian city of Siena, a young woman named Catherine Benincasa was already gaining a reputation for her fierce devotion. Born into a modest middle-class family, she entered the Dominican Third Order at just 17. By 21, her fasting had become so severe that her family feared she might not survive. She spent endless hours in prayer, claiming visions of Christ himself. To her neighbors, she was no ordinary girl, but a haunting figure who seemed more spirit than flesh. Then came the vision that would shape her destiny. As the story goes, Catherine was deep in prayer when her cell suddenly blazed with heavenly light. Christ appeared before her, flanked by the Virgin Mary, St. John the Evangelist, St. Paul, and St. Dominic. What followed resembled a sacred wedding rite. Christ reached out his hand and Catherine felt a ring slip onto her finger, not of gold or jewels, but something far more intimate and far more shocking. Christ spoke to her, commanding her to abandon her life of seclusion. No longer could she remain hidden in endless prayer. She was to step into the world, to tend the sick, comfort the dying, and labor for the unity of the church. And on her finger, unseen by any eye but her own, the mysterious ring remained, a constant reminder of her sacred calling. But here is where the story turns truly controversial. In her own letters, Catherine describes the ring in terms so shocking that even medieval audiences recoiled. She claimed it was fashioned from Christ's circumcised flesh, his foreskin. To modern ears, it sounds grotesque, even offensive. Yet for Catherine, this was rich with meaning her contemporaries would recognize. Circumcision marked the covenant between God and his people. The Eucharist taught that believers consumed the very body of Christ. And the language of bridal mysticism, drawn from the Song of Songs, spoke of the soul's union with God in deeply intimate, even bodily terms. Catherine's confessor, Raymond of Capua, considered this detail far too scandalous for public ears. Years later, when he composed her official biography, he quietly replaced the flesh ring with a simple jeweled band. Such editing was hardly unusual. Medieval hagiographers often reshaped saints' lives to suit political needs or devotional sensibilities. Raymond was laying the groundwork for Catherine's canonization, and some truths, he decided, were better left untold. This quiet act of editing reveals something vital about how we view religious figures of the past. Catherine's own writings show us a brilliant theologian and mystic whose extraordinary experiences were framed in the rich, symbolic language of her age. Her masterpiece, The Dialogue, displays striking theological depth. Her letters reveal a keen political mind, bold enough to advise popes and princes. Raymond's biography, however, tells a different story, one centered on miracles and marvels, carefully shaped to stir devotion and strengthen her path to sainthood. Catherine's mystical marriage was not an isolated case. Across medieval Europe, women mystics reported strikingly similar experiences. Beatrice of Nazareth wrote of her own spiritual marriage to Christ. Mechtilde of Magdeburg described ecstatic unions with the divine. Together, these accounts were part of a larger movement, one in which women embraced the language of the bride to claim spiritual authority within a church still firmly ruled by men. Later artists added another layer of confusion by blending Catherine of Siena with Catherine of Alexandria, the legendary martyr. Paintings often show a crowned woman receiving a ring from the Christ child, but the details reveal which Catherine is meant. Dominican symbols or nods to Siena signal Catherine of Siena. Royal robes and the spiked wheel of martyrdom, by contrast, point unmistakably to Catherine of Alexandria. For medieval women, mystical experiences opened doors that society kept firmly shut. Catherine's extreme fasting, her visions, and her bold use of bridal imagery were more than private devotions. They were tools of authority. Through them, she claimed the right to speak and act in arenas normally closed to women. Her mystical marriage to Christ became the foundation of her public voice. The authority to rebuke popes and urge their return to Rome, to mediate bitter political conflicts across Italy, and to found hospitals and works of charity that shaped her world. We must take care not to force modern psychological labels onto medieval lives. Some scholars have speculated that Catherine struggled with anorexia or other disorders, but such diagnoses miss the deeper point. Whatever the physical or mental dimensions, Catherine lived in a world where these experiences were seen through a sacred lens. Her visions were not dismissed as illness, they were embraced by her community as genuine encounters with the divine. So, what truly happened in that small cell in Siena? We can never say for certain whether Catherine encountered a supernatural vision, a psychological episode, or something else beyond our grasp. But perhaps that isn't the real question. What matters more is how the story worked in its own time. Catherine claimed an invisible ring, and with it, a visible authority. Her community believed her and empowered her ministry. The church itself would one day confirm her holiness with canonization. And artists carried her mystical marriage across Europe, fixing her vision forever in paint and gold. The ring, whether taken as literal or symbolic, transformed Catherine from an obscure young woman into one of the most powerful voices of her age. She persuaded Pope Gregory XI to leave Avignon and return the papacy to Rome, ending decades of exile. She threw herself into the cause of reform and the dream of Christian unity. And her writings secured her a rare and lasting distinction, the title of Doctor of the Church, an honor granted to only 4 women in all of history. Modern believers and skeptics may argue over the truth of her visions, but the historical impact is undeniable. Catherine's mystical marriage gave her a platform almost no woman of her time could claim. That invisible ring became the foundation for very visible achievements. The tale spread through her letters, her biography, and the art she inspired, shaping medieval spirituality and leaving a legacy that endures to this day. Today, Catherine's story shows us how religious symbols evolve and endure. What began as a private vision in a modest cell grew into public art, official doctrine, and enduring legend. The ring itself may have been unseen, but its influence spread across centuries. From Siena's cloisters to the halls of cathedrals and the galleries of great museums around the world. Whether we see Catherine as a true mystic or a masterful religious strategist, her impact cannot be denied. She claimed that Christ placed a wedding ring of flesh upon her finger, and that claim moved mountains. It altered papal policy, reshaped the church, and secured her place among history's great saints. The ring itself may be invisible, but its imprint on history is unmistakable. If you liked the video and want to be notified as soon as a new episode is released, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want a specific historical topic that might be unknown to a lot of people covered here, leave a comment. Thank you for watching and stay curious.